All right, we are live for the Friday edition of the Mike and Mario Show. Excited to be back and looking forward to connecting. So, Mario, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a couple of weeks since we last spoke, and things have changed quite a bit. I hope you
Yes.
had a nice Thanksgiving yesterday.
Yes, everything was great. Ate a lot, slept a lot, watched football games. Detroit Lions suck, unfortunately, but I'm used to
Well,
it. So they're still national
they lose.
television is the worst team in the NFL. Say that again.
It's the traditional Thanksgiving is Detroit Lions. They always play, don't they?
For what reason? I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know because
Ah,
my cousin, I have a cousin in Detroit.
yeah,
She does she works for the Detroit Lions.
really.
There's a picture of her on the by the sideline. She does the reporting.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
Why they still on national television, I have no clue. But hey, it is what it is. But they almost had a win, but they managed to pull off the loss anyway. But lots of stuff going on, man. It's black market sell off. Everything appears to be down, apart from the fact that gold on your side of town was doing well up until some
well,
recently
up
over
and
here. But
yeah, well, even silver was up earlier this morning,
yeah,
and everything was like imploding, and gold and silver were doing really well, acting like they should do.
yeah.
But in the last hour or so, of course, I think the market is going to close early today. The bullion banks, they've come, they've got as much paper as they want
Mhm.
to mess about with the price. But we were speaking earlier before we came online that we bought some silver this weekend.
Mhm.
We are speaking about how solid and beautiful silver looks like, and that you can't really buy silver for the price that you see on the screen.
Right.
I mean, so I think the prices for silver and gold, the paper prices, are a lie, and
Mhm.
even with the premium that we have to pay for silver and gold right now, I think it's a gift
Mhm.
if you can keep stacking, because this whole system is based on something that's not real.
Right, very true. And I was just mentioning how when you hold something real in your hands, it just feels so stable and so solid, right? In comparison to all the other stuff out there, regardless of the price, because it to me is the epitome of a stable coin. And then I was referencing this Liberty Dollar that's 120 years old and how stable this thing is, and it's gone through a lot, but it's still here, regardless of the price. And of course, it's worth paper wise a lot more than it was,
Mm.
120 years ago. But also with that one coin there, I was looking up, doing some research. That this one coin here was about 2 days worth of labor, 100 years ago. Whereas in today, this goes for about 35 or so pieces of paper, which could be considered an hour's worth of work, depending on what you're doing. So,
Very undervalued.
exactly, it's something like,
Yep.
how come this doesn't reflect the same amount of labor in total? Like this should be literally 2 days worth of work, which would say about $350, give or
Yeah,
take. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So something's not right here.
yeah,
But yeah, of course, we know what's going on. But
yeah. I got this. These are relatively new coins. They're called Beasts.
mhm.
They are from the UK Royal Mint. Yes, they do have the Queen on it, but it doesn't really matter. But they're really chunky and solid. They're 2 ounce,
Yeah.
2 ounces of silver. So I'm happy with
Mhm.
those.
Get
And
your weight up.
yeah, that's the difference between price and value. I,
Mhm.
I think right now, I think paper assets, the stock market, tech, yeah, the prices are really high, but I don't think they are a good value. While
Right.
gold and silver, the prices are suppressed, but they're really good value, and
Yeah.
they have been. And they have been stable for thousands of years,
Right.
and you can always buy something with gold and silver. And like you said, though, silver, we should be able to buy a lot more
Mhm.
with silver. And I think eventually, when everyone pulls the curtain and
Mhm.
sees that, the men behind the curtain, people
Right.
will realize. But right now, it's just a few people that can see behind the curtain, so to
Right.
speak.
Right. So for those that are tuning in, definitely hit the thumbs up button and also throw out a topic or something we'll touch on. We got about 4 or 5 different subject matters on our end, but definitely want to have a well-rounded discussion this Friday. And so I guess we can't really move further without talking about, to me, I put this up here. So the latest Greek alphabet that has been thrown at us
Yeah,
happens to be they're calling it new. Which, if you scroll down here and look at this, where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. This
and
N.
and and
This
and
N here is new. And so that's the new version or variant that they're throwing at us now. And of course, the markets are responding. You know, nations are being shut off from flying and things like that. But so far, I was trying to figure out how many variants has been thrown our way. So we got Alpha, which is the beginning. And then I remember Delta was this past summer. And I think Epsilon was in somewhere in Eastern somewhere. So yeah, there's a lot more variants to go, people. So just be patient, continue to do what you do,
yeah,
and watch out
it's
for all the fear.
it's like a fraternity party, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going through initiation, and we need to choose
Oh man.
the house that we want to rush for.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's jump into some stories, man. So here's something that just plays right into that. Airline shares tumble as new variant triggers travel restrictions. So it looks like Europe might be shutting down sooner than we anticipated, or is this right on time? What do you think, Mario?
Well, if you look at Portugal, I think they locked down completely this
Hmm.
morning.
Oh, they did.
You
Yeah.
saw what's happening in Austria and Germany
Right.
and the Netherlands, Belgium. So even before we got this new,
Mhm.
or the Botswana, yeah, I don't know if you remember George W. Bush once. He was giving a press conference. He said, "We went to this park in Botswana." You might
Uh-uh.
be able to, you might, if you Google George Bush Botswana, you could find that. It's really funny. So even prior to this new variant,
Uh-huh.
Europe was already the continent, because here in the UK we are in Europe, but we usually call Europe the continent, and the UK is the UK.
Uh-huh.
But here in the UK, yeah, the politicians, the ministers are trying to say, yeah, we're going to watch this very closely. Things could change. You know, it looks like they're trying to set us up for a Christmas lockdown, but I don't know if people are going to
Mm.
take this. I don't know if
Yeah.
people are going to respect the restrictions this time around. I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but
Yeah, and that's something. It's gonna be region by region. Will be the
oh
response
yeah,
will be it will vary basically, because here in the U.S., like you were saying, like I don't see the Republican states going for that, but then again, we got the extremely liberal left, New York, maybe Michigan, maybe California. They might respond. So I'm thinking, I saw Pfizer come out earlier say that it'll take about 2 weeks for them to determine if the current stabs are actually effective, and then 100 days to develop a new one. So basically, what they're saying is everybody who's taken those things in the last year might be null and void. And
great.
then what?
Yeah. Well, it's good. Apparently, Pfizer shares went up 6% on that comment,
Yeah.
but so it's good for business.
Yeah, this is so flyer passengers are banned from leaving flights in Holland, but in Heathrow, travelers are simply allowed to walk through as normal.
I saw that. Yeah, I guess here in the UK they want the new to
Yeah.
they are welcoming new,
Unbelievable. So I
even if
wonder, like, so as of now, the U.S., of course, we won't hear anything from the pretender and thief Biden or Brandon, but it's interesting. But by the time the mainstream media announces that the U.S. was looking to respond, it'll be maybe 2 weeks from now, or maybe 3, and then they'll say there's been cases, and of course they're going to probably pick states that are having the most economic problems. Because I'm hearing more stories about the pensions on this side of town, how pensions are extremely underfunded and they're having issues. And so it's probably going to be those states that are hit first, because they're going to need some type of aid or something down the line.
yeah, and you know that story you just showed about um, the authorities in the Netherlands
Yeah.
not allowing South African passengers
Yeah.
to leave the flight,
Hmm.
and at Heathrow in the UK, they're just simply letting them walk through. They
Yeah.
might use that as an excuse and say, "Oh, the government was so incompetent, and now we've got this new variant. It's all spreading all over the place." They could
Mm.
use that as a call me a conspiracy theorist, but
There's no such thing, Mario.
yeah, I know. We know who created that term. It was
Yeah.
the CIA back in the 60s, and the CIA are a bastion of truth, aren't they?
Yeah. Tell me about it. And then we can't not help but talk about the current responses happening right now with the markets. Everything is apparently down. So Dow slammed 1,000 points in the worst drop of 2021. So we're talking about Federal Reserve's alleged stance up to this point of them wanting to taper into next year, and so how this new situation here might force them to have to reconsider or readjust their plans. What you would say?
Yes, definitely, and I think that's what they want. And it's a great excuse for them to backtrack on their tapering. And people like me and others in the alternative have been saying that it's impossible for them to taper
Mm-hmm.
or even raise interest rates. So this is the perfect excuse. And the other thing I'm noticing today,
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing the bond market rally very strongly. Prices. So the 10-year yield, for example, today is down. Let me check here. Refresh. It's down about 14 basis points, which
Yeah.
is very significant for one day of trading. And
Yeah.
it's back down to 1.5%. And even the short end, like for example, the 2-year note, which is more closely associated
Mm-hmm.
to the Fed funds target, the short-term rate, which the Fed controls,
Yeah.
that's down an eighth of a percent. So yeah, I think this helps them quite a bit. And I mean, those people who don't think the bankers are involved in
Mm-hmm.
all this scheme that we've had in the last 18 months,
Yeah.
they need to wake up and smell the coffee, I think, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So the question will be: is between now and Christmas, what's the likely possibility of there being a reversal of policy and then the implementation of something new? Like, heading to the holiday season, there's going to be a lot of fear being spread out there, but yet they need to paper that over somehow. So, what's the possibility you think of Fed Powell and Janet Yellen said everything was fine as we were
Yeah.
expecting this? It's time to now do this because we still have the Build Back Better plan, which is on the table,
Yeah.
and then the debt ceiling, which is next week. That whole little debacle debate that
I
they've been
thought
talking about.
I thought Yellen said that she extended that. She said they've got to the 15th now.
I didn't
So
see that one, but okay, so
yeah,
that
but
buys them some time.
I guess it will all depend on how quickly they put this script out there, and
Yeah,
I call it a script because I think that's what it is.
yeah,
So if they really rush it through, then yeah, we could see a reversal before Christmas. If they don't rush it through, if they want to make it seem more like I don't know, natural, but they
hmm
might want to make it seem like an emergency and really serious. So it's difficult to tell, but I think it will definitely be a reversal of policy.
hmm
There will be a reversal of policy, and who knows? Maybe this time they. The other thing is, what if they don't reverse the policy? What if they keep?
mm,
Because some people argue that they do want to bring everything down.
yeah,
So who knows? It's really tough to say, but
very. Oh my goodness. So let's while we're at it, we got a couple more topics, but let's see if we got any questions or anything out there you guys want to touch on. Any subject matter worthwhile, feel free to throw it out there in the chat and we'll touch on it. And then we can keep the show moving right along. So let me get my little thing up here, but feel free to ask any questions and then we can keep it moving. And then also, let me see here. Let me see if anything new out here. I want to touch on it. I don't know if I sent you this article or not, but the UK is concerned now about the El Salvador Bitcoin situation and how they're looking to issue a Bitcoin denominated or backed bond denominated in dollars, of course. But the UK, Bailey said he's concerned with that. Like there's something that we need to address. They need to address that. And then also Hillary Clinton came out expressing her concerns as to how China and Russia could use all this as a way to destabilize the dollar.
well, I think the people who are destabilizing the dollar now are they've it's been the Federal Reserve
Uh-huh.
and the Congress and the all the past administrations since Richard Nixon. They're the ones who've been destabilizing the dollar, not Russia. But Bank of England, I don't think El Salvador cares much about what the Bank of England says.
Right. They're moving ahead.
They just better make sure they don't have any gold with them
Mm,
because if they want that gold back, they won't give it back to them. Yeah,
mhm,
I saw that the president of El Salvador, he
mhm.
wants to issue $1 billion bond,
Yeah,
and it's not denominated or backed by Bitcoin. What he wants to do with that is he wants to take half the proceeds and buy Bitcoin with it,
yeah.
and the other half is for spending infrastructure, I guess, spending.
Build that city.
So yeah,
Yeah, but I think what's interesting about it is that it's paying 6%, or it's expected to pay about 6%. And so a lot of people saying that it's anticipated it's going to be oversubscribed because right now, buying any type of government sovereign debt, you're definitely getting negative. But yet with this current 6%, it's less negative in real
yeah.
terms.
Well, that the way the bond market works. So, for example, they want to issue it with a, they call it the coupon at 6%, and
Hmm.
they will have an auction
Yeah.
for it. And if investors, for example, uh, bid a lot for it, if the bid to cover is like 10 to 1, if there's you know uh, $10 billion of bids for
Hmm.
1 billion, yeah, that the yield is gonna the price is gonna be a lot higher than 100.
Yeah.
So the yield will probably be at 5 or 4.5, or vice versa. If there's not much demand, you could see a yield at 7. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the situation, uh, financial situation of El Salvador is about their bonds. But
Yeah.
for example, Turkey, their 10-year yield is about 21%.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of which, something let me put this on screen here. So something I came across the other day about let me see it is 5 year. Let me see here.
CDS, credit default swap, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
It-
mean yeah, that's like, the credit default swaps that we had for subprime. So the
yeah.
higher this number, the more it costs to insure yourself, if you have Turkish government bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was noticeable was within this last week or two, how much it went from -4 literally on the 15th up to 400, and now it's going up a lot higher from that point on. So
Yeah.
very concerning. But even speaking about the Turkish lira, man, it's continually tanking. But then I want to point out that let me see if I can find that visual aid real quick
Yeah.
about how inflation itself is the primary driver. But we were told that around this time frame, the fiat currencies globally will be burning from the whole economist cover. But yeah, this is just a little bit of what we're being fed from this source here. But it's 1.1 or so billion people total in all these regions that are shaded red, and they are experiencing double digit inflation, also meaning their currency is failing at a very increasing rate. And so this plays into what's happening in Turkey with their 20% inflation, and how you did a great video the other day talking about the other factors not being discussed on the canal, whatnot that's being built and things like that. But what I found to be the most interesting is that there's people, and here's a video here in the streets in Istanbul, if I'm not mistaken, they're burning dollars. And so they're, I
All
guess, yeah,
the
like this
dollars.
video here, they're burning dollars. All right, I'll play it. They're
Wow.
burning dollars, and of course, I'm assuming they're saying it's foreign intervention. So here, dollars being burned right now in the streets, and
Yeah.
so they're saying something. I can't understand it, but
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the dollar controls is the reserve currency, and the United States can use it as a weapon. And
mhm,
the reason a lot of those countries have high inflations because their currencies are not manipulated as much as the rich world's currency
yeah,
by the central bankers. And what do I mean by that? Well, the central bankers keep their currencies; they call them hard currencies. Uh, Elevated by basically manipulating the FX market,
mhm,
while the emerging markets, they don't get the same treatment. So their currencies, there's not as much demand for them, and then when their currencies drop, what that means is that everything they need to buy from abroad becomes more expensive, and
yeah,
that's why prices rise, and that's why you get inflation. And,
yeah,
the U.S. as well. I spoke in that video about Turkey that there was a coup attempt in 2016
mhm,
against Erdogan that failed, and there's a lot of speculations the US was involved, the CIA. So what's the other way to try to like get rid of someone, a leader like Erdogan?
Yeah.
Well, you go after their currency, because the Turkish economy is doing really well.
Yeah.
Actually, they have a very healthy banking system, and but now people are getting angry because the cost of living is rising, so they're going to vent their anger at Erdogan. It's going to be very interesting to see if he survives the next 6 months to a year. uh,
Yeah.
I think it's very positive for Turkey and their economy. And am I pro Turkey, pro Erdogan, or no? I'm just observing.
Yeah. Now, so here's an article here as well. It says Apple stops selling iPhones and other products in Turkey as lira plunges. So this is from the other day or whatnot. But
Yeah, it makes sense because let's say Apple has a profit margin of 10% when they sell their phones in Turkey, in the local currency, and the currency drops 15% in one day. It's
Mhm.
very difficult for them to sell it. But I
Right.
think once the lira, Turkish lira, stabilizes, then Apple will be able to get back and sell. I think it's
Right.
more because of the volatility that they stopped selling it.
Yeah. And how it's definitely been tanking at an alarming rate, at a fast rate at that. So here's something from
Mm.
Chris. Appreciate you, man. It says, if the Dixie or the Dixie never existed, how would this affect the price of gold? How would gold be valued then?
I can answer that. Well, the Dixie or dollar index is just a compiling. It's an index that really doesn't exist in terms. It's not some. It's just a compilation of the dollar versus all the major currencies.
Hmm.
So it's not really like a currency, the dollar index.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, was created in 1973, the
Hmm.
dollar index,
Yeah.
at
I'm looking at
100.
this.
It was created at 100, and the reason they did that is because in 1973 the world went into a floating exchange rate regime. Prior to 1973, all the currencies were pegged because they used to be pegged fixed to an amount of gold.
Mhm.
So they needed something to track how the currencies were being inflated. So they used the dollar index. But gold, for example, made an all-time high in March 2008 at
Mhm.
about 1,030, and the dollar index dropped to 70.69 on the same day.
Yeah.
And here we are, 13 years later, and the dollar index is, I don't know, 95 or 6, and gold is what, almost 1800. So, yeah, in the short term, the move of the dollar versus other fiat currencies does affect gold.
Mhm.
But all in all, I think the dollar index, yeah, I mean, gold has been a winner versus
Yeah.
a dollar index. Gold was below 200 in 1973. Now it's 1800, and the dollar index was 100.
Right. And think about, since that time, the money supply has increased astronomically, and the Dixie has been. I think to piggyback on that, I think the Dixie has been positioned and portrayed as the measuring stick of the current reserve currency, regardless of whatever happens in the metals markets or anything else. And that's
Yeah,
just what we've been told to focus on, to where
yeah,
all the CNN and ESPN economists, they use
yeah,
that as like the Dixie's down today, so the dollar's for this. They use that as the
yeah,
standard or
yeah.
something, as if like,
King, yeah, and people come out and say the king dollar and stuff.
yeah. So I think it's more so as a distraction and diversion tactic,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then it is
because
of something to value.
you're comparing like fiat currencies that are like trash, right? And
Right.
there's one that's a little better, and you're saying, oh, you know,
Very true. And then this plays into that chart I was going to talk about the inflation. And so we were told, this is the 1988, January 1988 cover of The Economist, that around this time frame, 2018 or so, fiat currencies would be burning. And based upon what's happening to the lira and every other currency that's having issues right now, this is an epitome of burning currencies, where double-digit inflation is causing people to have concerns and fear and panic. And here we are now. But what I noticed about this image here, a good portion of those notes down there happen to be $5 notes. And so I see Abraham Lincoln on a lot of these notes here, as well as some looks like Asian currency. It looks like
Yeah, there's a Japanese yen there
on the far
uh,
right.
under the wing, and I
Yeah, and
think
then I
there's
see all
some
those Abraham Lincolns.
yeah, Deutschmarks, French francs, but yeah,
So we're right where they told us we would be around this time frame of
yeah,
fiat currencies burning, and here we are now.
yeah. And do you remember in I think 2014, Christine Lagarde, this
Mhm.
woman here, who should be, she was convicted as a criminal by a
Yeah,
court in France.
yeah.
She gave that speech in Washington D.C. about the number seven,
Mhm.
right? And that's 2014 plus seven is 2021.
Mm,
She said something about reset and stuff. She
yeah.
talked a lot about that.
And so the whole numerology, and
Yeah,
so there's a couple people out there that love to put dates and times and numbers
yeah,
together. I've yet to get to that, but it kind of does line up and make sense if you
yeah,
stretch it far enough, it does make sense, I guess.
yeah.
Let's keep moving. So feel free to ask questions or whatnot, and we'll put them out there. So I can't help but not talk about what's happening in all markets. But one thing I did notice, Mario, is Hive. Hive is doing extremely well
Oh,
today.
yeah, I'm happy with Hive.
Yeah. Hive is doing extremely well today, but yet the other the cryptos seem to be down, except the stable coin versions. But definitely. So if you had some Hive, I'm sure you're doing not too mad
I
today.
think Hive is corrected back down a bit, but I mean, compared to the beginning of the week, we're below $1,
Mhm.
and now it's at 222. It's down 15% from last night, but
Yeah.
and it got up to 339. The thing with Hive, for example, though, um, is that when I post my videos on Hive,
Mhm.
I earn a Hive Power and a Hive Coin,
Yeah.
and most of my Hive is in Hive Power.
Yeah.
So unless I power down those Hive Powers, I can't sell the Hive coins, but I'm
Mhm.
leaving it there because the more Hive Power you get, the more the better it is for you when you publish your content on Hive. But
Mhm.
I'm happy with it because, yeah, I think earlier this year we got down to 10 cents, 20 cents.
Yeah.
So it
Here's we got a question here. Pay me money bags. How you doing, man? It says, so why is there no private citizen organization from the people that challenges our government when serious concerns arise that threaten our constitutional right? And if there is, how are they?
Well, they're
Um,
supposed to be your elected representatives, aren't they? Here in the UK as well, they're supposed to be our MPs, but unfortunately, they've been
mhm.
bought and paid for by they call them lobby, right? So, private citizens, I mean, that's just us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people elect representatives or MPs or have you got any idea, any thoughts on that, Mike?
Right. So so the private citizens obviously is just we the people who know what's going on, standing up in mass. And so outside of those small pockets of individuals and influencers that are letting their voice be heard and causing an uproar, a good version of that is that guy in Canada. What's his name? Chris Sky or something like that. The Canadian guy who's out here streaming, and he's actually out there in the streets causing a lot of ruckus, risking his jeopardy in his own life to actually help the Canadian people. Here in America, outside of people expressing their opinion and being pissed off, we haven't really seen any or been told of any uprisings and gatherings as of yet. But I think
I,
it's coming, but I don't know when.
I guess Alex Jones, you could say he was someone like that, but
Yeah.
they deplatformed him.
Yeah, and also I saw something about they subpoenaed him to appear before that for that January 6th or something like
Yeah,
that.
and he did nothing wrong there. He actually said that he was trying to stop people from doing anything stupid,
Yeah,
but they want to make him look bad.
yeah, and so I think he said something. He's going to plead the fifth.
Well,
So
yeah,
we'll see what that happens there. What else we got here? So Miles says religious market Turkey is Islamic. Oh, we're talking about Islamic stuff. Anyway, let's keep it moving. What else we got to talk about here? Got some more subjects for us. What is it? Where'd they go? I don't know. I lost my thought here. Oh, okay. We can't not address the situation in Australia with those camps that are being rolled out and how the military is going about collecting individuals that test positive as well as those that are their closest contacts. I think the prime minister mentioned about, or one of the MPs mentioned that there's going to be a lot more to come. But yet this is not something that seems to disturb a lot of people, especially the mainstream side.
Yeah, I've looked into this a little bit. The Northern Territory, that's where these quarantine camps are, because Australia has states, but there is a Northern Territory, and it's twice the size of Texas, the Northern Territory, and the population is 247,000. And the Aborigines, or the indigenous people of Australia, they're I think almost more than 30% of the population, and by law they own 49% of all the land in the Northern Territories. And the people who've been rounded up and forced to do this thing and put in camps, they're mostly the Aborigines, or the indigenous, or First Nation people.
Yeah.
And I think the chief, they call it a chief administrator, or of the Northern Territory, is a guy called Michael Gunner. And we saw his, I don't know, most people saw that speech.
Yeah.
He sounded like he was in a trance, looked like a very evil eyes. And I think it's amazing that that's happening today in the world. And the other thing about the Northern Territories, it's full of rare earths, it's full of gold and minerals. I don't think the Aboriginal culture is one of materialism and mining and stuff like that. They just want the land because it's their land. But can you imagine, the Chinese, they must be salivating at the prospect of getting a big chunk of the Northern Territories. I think there's a lot more behind it than just the health situation.
Right.
And I think it's unfortunate.
Right. And based upon the way you just described it, sounds literally like a land grab. Like, the ultimate agenda is to grab the land and use this current health situation as excuse.
Yeah.
Because why would they target that specific area so hard and the most ahead of time? And it's probably sad to say it's probably going to spread throughout the rest of the country, but it's just amazing how it's taking place in what's his name, in Australia, not being talked about anywhere else. Did you want me to show that clip?
This is the new Botswana variant. So
let me one second.
I
Let me grab it over here.
Quite funny. Some of you might remember this.
1 second. Let me grab this.
I'm not saying I like President George W. Bush, but
yeah. Let me see if I can cut the volume up. 1 second.
It's the first time we've been back to Texas since our trip to Africa, and you may recall we went to a park in Botswana.
Classic.
So I think they're like they're making fun of us. They're bringing a new variant and they're calling it it's funny because when the whole thing started last year, they're calling it the coronavirus. And then they came out and said, "Oh no, you got to call it COVID-19." And like with this variant, they're calling it the Botswana variant, and now it's the new variant.
Yeah,
it's weird, like how they try to control the narrative.
Yeah. So for those just tuning in, the Greek alphabet, if you go down to N, we got the new variant, and so here we've had Alpha, Delta just died down, or was that Delta? Yeah, Delta just died down, and we got all these other variants that are probably in the pipeline. So it's going to be a long ride, to say the least. Oh man! But let's get ready to draw down, and let's talk about, I guess, what we anticipate in the next couple of days. We're entering into December next month, so we got a lot of potential more new fears being thrown our way. But the market response, do we see gold and silver going lower, or what? Is there be a bounce back, or will cryptos continue to dip, or what do you think, Mario?
Well, I mean, cryptos have corrected quite a bit already, haven't they? And I think, gold and silver, they were doing well up until early last week, and they were smashed last week. Some people think they could go lower. I thought today was an encouraging move for gold
Yeah.
and silver, but they didn't let gold and silver stay up.
Hmm.
Anything can happen. I mean, they've got good control still of the paper markets, but I think everything's up in the air. There's a lot of uncertainty
Yeah.
with this new.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just try to keep stacking. I do have. I've added on to like my silver miners.
Hmm.
I've got some of the gold miners. Yes, they're not doing great, but I think they will do well in the long term because it's like having a central bank,
Yeah.
basically, by owning the miners because they produce money, real money.
Hmm.
And I think they're heavily undervalued. I know it's taken a long time. So yeah, I think it's going to be very volatile as well because it's all going to depend on what these politicians say about this new variant.
Right, right. I agree. So it's all subject to the narrative they want to put out there, and it looks like fear is going to be fear based. So I anticipate more uh, news about different states and different countries shutting down, locking down, and dialing back, and needing to push back against this. And of
Yeah.
course, they're going to attack the people, saying it's those people who have not participated yet. It's their fault.
Oh yeah.
Now we need to ramp up this,
Yeah.
this.
It's our fault that they got the new variant in South Africa, right?
Right, I guess, yeah, and not
Not
realizing that.
not really. I mean sarcastic, of
Right,
course.
I know, but it's
But
unfortunate. It's going to be more divisive because the
yeah.
people who participate are already going to say it's the people who have not. So more divide and conquer is coming. So, and as a result of that, the markets will definitely not be very favorable. And then they're going to be need some type of injection, some type of immediate stimulus. Positive come out saying everything was on course until new came about. So that's what I'm anticipating. So basically, I can see the markets going a little bit lower. Metals possibly could be tested even more. But then again, the spot price won't change. So it's going to continue to remain the same. So
Well,
it won't be
yeah,
much of a true buying opportunity, I don't think, other than
yeah.
getting
I guess you mean the price to buy the real thing won't
correct.
change.
Correct.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, this name is very convenient because you could use it for anything. New stimulus, new QE, new, yeah. So I think that it's going to be exploited.
Oh man, it definitely will. But I guess in the meantime, you kind of anticipate their game plan. Keep doing what you're doing, double down if you can, and find some way to make sense of this nonsense as best we can, and enjoy the time while we still have it. We still have less than a month in the year 2021, and man, it's whatever we make it. I think ultimately. And so, other than
Mm.
that, that's kind of my stance, man. But any last words you want to leave us with, Mario?
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's difficult not to know what's going on and to
Mhm.
see all this. But I would say just try not to, basically the attitude of so what, right?
Mhm.
Just if they want to bring this, don't let it scare you and
Yeah,
just try to do as much as possible, normal things as possible.
yeah,
Try to say no to all the if they bring in new controls and regulations,
yeah.
yeah, take a chance. I saw a video of a woman at a public school
Mhm.
conference in the US,
Yeah.
and she was trying to get in and she wasn't wearing a mask, and the police was really aggressive and arrested her. and
Mm.
and I mean, maybe we have to stand up like that to these bullies,
Yeah.
and maybe get in trouble. But if we don't, the world's they're gonna win. We have to say no.
Right. That's true. And that's where I've gotten to the point now where as much as I can, I'll continue to encourage people because to stand up and to resist. The more that we comply, the more that we're literally complicit to them basically just trying to get over on humanity. And so resist whenever you can, just because that's your first and last stand as of right now before things get elevated to a more physical nature. So I'm surprised you mentioned the cops were getting a little bit physical over a mask. 'Cause I'm thinking like that's
Yeah,
overall still minor.
they handcuffed her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Resist tyranny, George says. Yeah. So, hey, but with that being the case, people, happy Friday to everyone. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving yesterday and continue on throughout the weekend. And continue to do what you do, stack up, be blessed, stay prayed up, and yeah, just enjoy the day while the day is today, man, because it's still a blessing if you're above ground and breathing air. So make the most of it. But other than that, be blessed, be safe. See you guys later. Peace.